Hey, what's going on, everyone? MTashed here with the RGH podcast. Two favorite hosts, True Vanguard and Cactus HD. I'm so happy to get to spend my evening with you two. I missed you.
Nice of you to join us.
I know, I missed you, but we're back with a bunch of gamer news, tons of it.
Dude, our viewership was cut in half last week because you weren't here. I want you to understand that. Like, half of our audience shows up and they're like, if Mike ain't here, I'm not here. It's literally, it's that simple.
They showed up and immediately left.
They're like, no, they did not. Shut up.
If we can't get these news topics related to Genshin Impact in some way, we're out of here. We're done.
Right. And that's fair. That's fair. So speaking of Genshin Impact, just kidding. Let's start with Fortnite. Fortnite's been around for 9 years. And there's been a long time. Some creators.
Did you say 9 years?
Yeah, it feels like it.
It's not what it actually is.
No. It was like a few months after Destiny 2.
It's probably like 10 years.
No, it's like 6 or something like that. I don't know.
It was after the Destiny 2 launch. Like right.
Oh, and then it's younger
than
that.
4 years.
Yeah, like 4 years.
Okay, forget it.
We're real gamers.
They just came out with a new season, and two big things there. Number one, it was supposed to be some sort of like invasion military type season right as the Ukraine invasion happened. So they're like, wow, this doesn't seem appropriate. And so
the crazy thing, like the days leading up, I remember seeing tweets where people were like, we still have not seen any promotional material. Like the new season's supposed to start in like 2 days. And there hasn't been a single word from Epic about the next season. They thought it was like some like big reveal thing, but the reality is they're like, ooh.
Yeah, they're in their PR meeting going, guys, it's just getting worse. Guys.
Yeah. And
anyways, continue.
Now, honestly, I think this is kind of a good pivot from, because instead of doing that season, they're doing kind of a limited time event where there's no building in Fortnite. And now that might be part of it. I'm not all kept up on the lore, why there's no building, but they're doing no building. And I log in the other day to Twitch. I see Ninja is playing Fortnite. Courage is playing Fortnite. Tim the Tatman is playing. Everyone is playing Fortnite again.
We called it.
And they're having fun, too.
Have a no building mode? That is like, why? Ask people why they stopped playing Fortnite. It's like, yeah, I would shoot someone and it would be a castle in 10 seconds. And I was like, I don't want to deal with this. You know what I mean? Like, my old man gamer thumbs can't keep up with this building.
Yeah, and there's a lot of interesting stuff in that because, well, for one, there's been this really interesting dichotomy between the people who are like diehard Fortniters and they're like, why did I spend 3.5 years perfecting my build skills and binding my keys and you know what I mean? And they were really unhappy about it because they can't crank 90s or whatever. But then you got the other people who are like, you got these huge, like you said, these huge content creators who are like, it's time to go back. You know what I mean? And so I feel like it's probably too early to tell definitively, but it does look like it seems like a positive change. Now it is limited time; it's not sticking around forever. But I think they said it. It feels like they're setting it up in such a way that it feels like a beta test, doesn't it? It feels like let's try this out. Let's see if the community let's see what happens to our player base. See what happens to the numbers. Are people gonna love this?
So go ahead.
There's 188,000 people watching it right now. And
That's pretty good.
117,000 on Valorant, 122,000 on Apex and Elden Ring. So I mean, it's like the most popular game right now on Twitch. It's beating out League of Legends, but it wasn't the most popular a few weeks ago. There's only like 30 or 40,000 people watching it. It's still a popular game.
I wonder if this boost in viewership is because it's a new season or specifically because this new season, like, again, has the no building stuff. Bro, I would have never considered downloading Fortnite again, ever. Until now they're like, oh, there's no building. Like, oh, you know what I mean?
It'll be fun.
Okay.
Well, I was watching.
I would try it again.
I was watching Real Crafty playing it. And I was watching it and I was like, okay, this actually looks interesting. Because he was moving around the map and he was kind of holding a hill. Because he can't make his own hill. You know, you have to use the actual terrain of the game. And I was like, I remember how excited everyone was about PUBG. And everyone was grinding PUBG. Like, it's the most played game concurrently in the history of Steam. PUBG. And, you know, I'm looking at Fortnite here and I'm looking at him play it and I'm like, Jesus, isn't this just like more accessible than that game is even? Like, it's not as military. Like, it's not like military style. It is very smooth and runs really well. I understand that it's cartoony, but that means that, you know, a younger audience can get into it.
Silly stuff.
Everyone can get into it. You can do some really fun stuff. And it's like, damn, do they need to consider this long term? The building?
I think they are. I think they're gonna very carefully monitor, right? Like, let's see player engagement. Let's see how many, like, they know, right? This account, you know, Rick Cacus XX69 Snipes is finally back on, right? It's been 3 years or 4 years, and now he's playing again. And they know who is like coming back on their old accounts and how long they're staying for. Yeah. So they're going to be looking really carefully and monitoring how this no build game mode goes. And I think they are. If it does well, I wouldn't be surprised if they had maybe like a build and a no build mode that you could select from.
Yeah, and it was definitely a very premeditated thing too, because they implemented a bunch of new mobility options and clambering into the game. Because that was like, as soon as they said no build, people were like freaking out, like, how am I supposed to like get up on stuff if I can't build a ramp and walk up to the roof? You know what I mean? They're like, listen, you can launch your stuff, you can clamber and grab and climb. Like, they implemented all these new changes to kind of help with that mobility aspect, which does help set it apart from, like you said, from like PUBG, you know, where you walk into a building and you're like, I have to go in, up the stairs, around, you know. But with Fortnite, it is much more cartoony. You can do silly stuff like chug jugs and launching yourself and all that stuff. So accessibility very high. We kind of moved on from the Ukraine thing, but I think it is important to give credit where it's due. They also said, because of the nature of this season, we do want to offset the poor timing of it by also saying, for the first, I don't know if it was like 40, I don't forget how long it was, but it was 100% of their revenue from the game for the season for a certain amount of time was going to go to, you know, war relief efforts and whatnot. So credit where it's due. That's pretty cool.
Yeah. Now, funny enough, obviously it was a good thing they did that, but people were pointing out, it's like, wait a minute. Like, obviously, a little bit of bad timing, the season of the invasion with the whole Ukraine thing happening. But people are like, wait a minute, isn't like every single Call of Duty campaign about Russia invading somewhere, right? Like,
Russia's back at it again.
Everyone was joking. They're like, the Call of Duty developers are loving it. They got so much material from this, but it's like, there's a lot of games that deal with that. And so, I mean, that is literally Call of Duty's bread and butter. I'm not sure what they're going to do.
A new DLC. No, I don't know.
Yeah, exactly. But funny enough, talking about Call of Duty, the next Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 is coming out in 2022, and apparently it has to do with like the like Colombian drug cartels and special forces dealing with that stuff. That's a rumor. I don't know if that's true, but this is very interesting. I don't know if you guys wrote this topic down, but this is something that came out a while ago. Apparently, there's going to be no 2023 Call of Duty.
That's a first.
It's going, for the first time ever since Call of Duty started coming out, I think, potentially, they're going to take a year. Modern Warfare 2 is going to last for 2 years.
I think that's the play, honestly. Well, I mean, and it comes as no surprise with all the issues that they've been dealing with.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
No surprise at all.
They obviously need more development time. Mm-hmm. And, I mean,
they can't hire people. I mean, did you see that with it where those tweets were going around where some of the higher ups at Activision were like, nobody wants to work for us.
I wonder why.
They're like firing everyone. Remember for the Raven software team, they like hired a bunch of people, made them move across the country,
and then
fired them. It's like, dude,
I relocated my whole family here.
Of course, no one wants to work for you guys. Like, what are you doing? But hopefully, it does mean that we like. I saw. This is a little bit off topic, but I think it's an interesting discussion. So I saw a video by this like Call of Duty YouTuber Exclusive Ace, I think we've talked about before, and he was kind of saying like, listen guys, it may sound like a good idea, right? 2 years, right? Then you can invest in the season. There's so much more after launch support now. Every season there's new guns, new maps, new modes, right? And now you have that for 2 years. You feel more comfortable maybe purchasing something in the in-game store, unlocking something. Nothing feels weirder than like unlocking something in summer for Call of Duty. You're like, bro, in a month or 2 months, the new game's coming out. I'm never touching this game again, right?
Yeah.
But he's like, here's the thing that no one's thinking about. Half the Call of Duty games suck. He's like, Modern Warfare 2019 had a lot going for it. Introduced Warzone, but the gameplay for 2019 for a lot of people sucked. It was very slow, methodical. You had so much camping. Certain people loved Cold War. Certain people loved Call of Duty Vanguard. So it's like, what? Like, there's Call of Duties that people love. I mean, Modern Warfare 2, the original ones, Black Ops 2, right? And there's Call of Duties that everyone hates. I think the best example is Call of Duty Ghost. So that's the problem. If you had Call of Duty Black Ops or Black Ops 2 or Modern Warfare, like good one for 2 years, banger, right? Now we're singing its praises. But if you had Call of Duty Ghosts for 2 years and there's it's like that could tank the franchise.
Right.
Like there was always light at the end of the tunnel. If you didn't like a Call of Duty, you knew the next game was coming in just a year and you're back on board, baby, right? But now with 2 years, like they really got to bring it.
And here's my concern, though. is, I mean, you have to understand the conditions under which this decision was being made. So a lot of people, I think, are getting this twisted. They're like, oh, great. That means we're going to have a Call of Duty that's meant to last 2 years and it's going to be supported and going to have content. No, that's not what they said. They're having trouble with staffing. They're having some staffing issues, having some PR nightmares, having lots of setbacks and delays. This isn't like hey, let's just make a real banger Call of Duty and let it last 2 years. That's not what's happening. So I would not set expectations super high, like, oh, this means that we're going to get continual content drops throughout those 2 years. They're going to keep, the game relevant and inject it with new content here and there. I don't think that's a realistic expectation to set.
Man, you could be right. I think, though, like, even though the gameplay of Modern Warfare 2019 was dog water, the amount of content was was insane. And so they're banking on Infinity Ward to bring it again. So it's just like a very interesting kind of evolution. We've never seen a 2-year Call of Duty. It's gonna be really interesting to see what they do.
I mean, I hope it's a banger. I never root for a game to fail. So high hopes.
Yeah. Now let's move on to the title.
End of all of our channels.
No, let's move on to the end of the Halo franchise as a whole.
Oh my gosh.
This one, so when we say, is Halo officially dead? Like, is this the end of Halo? We know that the Halo Infinite numbers are dropping, but now some interviews are coming out about the Halo show that are like suspect.
Wait. Can you stop about the Halo show? You can get onto that, but let's compartmentalize this. Can you look up the Halo numbers right now?
Sure.
What is Halo? Because we always stop to look up the Battlefield numbers, which are bad. There's like 1,000 people playing Battlefield 2042. It's not doing bad.
Okay, so on Twitch, there's 3,000 viewers. So
and Fortnite has 188,000.
Destiny 2 has had like 7,000 today during just
I guess.
hours.
Yeah, I'm
which is still like more than double a game that's basically brand new.
Yeah,
but like, okay, Tarkov has 25,000. Destiny's got 9,000, so triple the amount right now.
Triple, and nothing is happening in Destiny right now.
Old school RuneScape has 6,000.
Let's go.
Super Mario 64 has 3,500. So. You're telling me that it's below Roblox right now?
Roblox?
Right?
Roblox is stealing money from kids.
It's below Sea of Thieves. It's below...
is it real? No way.
Yeah, it's below
Sea of Thieves. Is higher? That's awesome. Sea of Thieves had some new content recently.
Yeah. Like, even Red Dead Redemption 2. Like,
hold on.
Who's watching Red Dead Redemption?
Wait.
What?
Salty Slug says... Halo is a dad shooter. Dads don't watch Twitch. So what's it doing right now on Steam? I can check.
It is at only 7,500. So 7,500 dads are playing it right now.
7,500.
I would love to see the demographics, honestly. I mean, they say it's a dad shooter. It was kind of... I think it was supposed to bridge the gap. I think that was the goal, was to bridge the gap between the nostalgic Halo crowd and reach a new, more competitive shooting audience. But I don't think it did either of those things well.
I could also imagine he's saying it's a dad shooter because like a lot of dads grew up with Halo, so like that's their thing.
Yeah.
But I would also argue that it's like sweatier. It's sweatier than dads are. Like I will dumpster you if you play me in Halo Infinite. Like if you're a dad who's like not good, like I will absolutely body you because you have to land 4 shots. Like it's not easy to win duels in that game. It's one of the hardest games to win duels compared to other shooters because you can't just camp in a corner. If you shoot me when you're camped in the corner, I either leave the room or I turn on you. And like it's not free kills like some other games when you catch someone off guard.
Listen, the thing is, dude, how many Halo players were in our comments being like, you guys you don't understand, this Halo Infinite is going to change gaming, and Destiny 2 is dead. Here's a bunch of Destiny 2 players. Destiny 2 has 81,000 people playing it on Steam right now, right this second. The peak players for like the last 30 days was 300,000. Oh, or almost 300,000. Like, so Destiny 2 is sixth. Like, it's the sixth most played game of current players on Steam right now, this second, as I'm saying it.
Right.
Halo is not even on. I have to go to the next page for Halo. It's worse than New World, which is literally everyone considers New World dead. It's worse than New World. Brawlhalla is higher. Sid Meier's Civilization 5 is higher. Sims 4 is higher. Fallout 4 is higher with 13,000. Now I gotta get to the next page.
No.
Stellaris is higher. Phasmophobia is higher. I gotta
Let's
get to
go,
the next page.
Phasmo.
Squad is high. Oh, wait, no. Squad. Oh, wait. Is Halo even here? You said it had 7,000 players? Or.
Listen, today, like, here's what you gotta
No, I
understand.
found it. Halo Infinite, 94th place with 6,000 players. Their peak in the last 30 days was 21,000 players. So, like, there is a certainly that game is in trouble. That game is just in trouble. Like, this is a game, and this is not any game. Halo is the marquee Xbox game.
Yeah.
When you think of Xbox, you think of Halo.
Flagship. Yeah.
Flagship game. So if anything should have the investment and the development to have constant updates and keep a high player count, it should be Halo.
Listen.
Like, what are we doing here? Who's like, it's Halo. It's not some random game.
Yeah.
There was a number of content creators, like huge streamers, that took to social media today just to express their opinions on Halo Infinite. For example, Nick Merckx, absolutely enormous content creator, enormous. His following is huge. You're talking about a guy with millions of followers, several million. You're talking about across. I mean, on Twitter alone, he's got 2 million followers plus. So that's the extent of his reach. And today he tweets this out: Halo Infinite was a flop. Okay, he says a flop. All right, that's pretty harsh. He says, such a shame too. Had the potential. The potential's through the roof. Should have incorporated a battle royale. Would have been a net positive. More content, more viewership, more everything. All ships rise. He says, adapt or die. And that's a really interesting thing to. I mean, you could have a different take on the whole battle royale statement, and I do personally. But he is right at the end there, where he says you have to adapt, or you're dead in the water. And I think that's true. I think Halo Infinite was this attempt to appease this nostalgic Halo experience. But here's the thing. This was my feeling playing this game. It's not that it was a bad game. I was just like, this feels very aged. It's a brand new game that feels kind of old, you know? And in just about every way, because in terms of mobility, other than the grapple was cool, but it's a pickup. You don't always have it. But in terms of mobility, almost every mainstream shooter out there has way more mobility options, right? That's one thing. You look at the maps, and they are very basic in terms of the textures, and the structures are just flat metal surfaces. And you, like, some people were like comparing. I remember there were a series of tweets just a couple weeks ago comparing games like even Elden Ring and Horizon Forbidden West, and they're like, these are open world shooters and first person games, third person games. And there were a number of them they were comparing, and every open world game right now looks incredibly way past where Halo Infinite's open world looks like. It's so basic when you compare the two things. And so it didn't do anything exceptionally. You know what I mean? It didn't adapt.
Okay, listen, you're okay to have all this stuff if you have Forge mode and you just let the community make the maps for you. You can have boring maps if the community can make the maps for you and make all these fun modes and duck hunt and trash compactor.
Yeah.
And we said, listen, this game's not going to do well. And again, so many people think they know gaming better than the real Gamer Hour podcast. Like, Forge isn't going to matter that much. The game's dead. I mean, and I seriously think it would be nowhere near as dead with Forge. Think of all of these like variety content creators. You'd have huge creators like people like Mr. Fruit who would get people together and play these fun game modes and get people on Halo. Like, that would make a huge difference.
Here's the other thing too that I wanted to address. So Dr. Mickelson said Twitch numbers and Steam numbers don't determine anything. Find the Xbox numbers. And that's fine. It might be bigger on Xbox, but you have to remember, as you said,
it probably is, yeah.
This is the marquee Halo. This is Halo Infinite. This is like, it's like Halo Infinite, like one of the final ones they will ever make, probably the final one with based on these numbers. And it's not putting up numbers the same as games that are 5 years old or 6 years old. It's putting on a fraction. And the thing is like, if you look at the launch of other popular games, if you look at the launch of Fortnite and it had 3 million concurrent players, Halo never reached that. And if you look at the viewership of Apex Legends having like 2 million viewers day one because they paid a bunch of people, Halo Infinite on the first day, it did well, but it never held that. And like a lot of these games that are popular and they're coming out, Elden Rings and all these things, they're smoking the popularity of this game by a long shot. And so when you look at how much it cost to make the game, how much they cost, marketing, doing all these different things, and it's already falling this far, it's a terrible sign. It is a brutal sign. Think about what they would need to do to salvage this and turn it around. They have to 10 times themselves. They have to more than 10 times themselves just to tie with Destiny.
Yep.
And Destiny's not the biggest game ever, but they have to 10 times their player base to tie them. And then what about some of the other bigger games? We're talking like metrics that are just impossible because they've already shot themselves in the foot. People already think it's a joke. Hold on. And when Nick Merckx says it's a flop, you get a bunch of people going, we like Fortnite, we like Fortnite. That used to watch him. We like Warzone, we like Warzone. Now, they're never going to jump on the Halo train. No one will ever trust it.
22,000 people upvoted that tweet. 22,000. That's so much more than are actually playing the game.
There's like a secret community of Xbox people. Okay, then you would see the Twitch numbers to back it up. There'd be like 20,000, 50,000 people watching on Twitch because everyone's playing on Xbox. It just doesn't make sense. Like, there's no way there's a secret underground community of only it's like, bro,
buying all the microtransactions and funding the game.
We are not saying that this game can never come back or that the franchise is dead, but we're saying that some serious changes need to be made.
I am.
Well, yeah, maybe.
I'm saying it's dead. I think it's done, bro. I think this is the last Halo.
Get co-op campaign out. It should have launched at start.
Yeah, that's
what
another
are
thing.
You literally just load in an extra person into the freaking open world. What could possibly be the delay here?
And it's not just that. You're right. They slow rolled out everything. It started out, they were like, here is the PvP. Here is, and then later, after people have already tried the game out, some people have already left. Then they're like, oh, by the way, here's the campaign later after that. And then some people tried it out. And then they're like, oh, and then later we're going to do the multiplayer campaign. And then later we're going to do Forge. And you know what I mean? It's just that's not a full game.
Yeah, it needed to launch with everything all at once. Not like you're going to get part of it now, and then the part that you want we'll get later.
And we want you to be buying these microtransactions in between,
Now, yeah, exactly. Like, we don't even have a Forge mode, but buy the cat ears for $15. Like, relax. Yeah. Now, Tash, you were saying there's not just trouble in the actual game. Mm-hmm. There's trouble in the IPs.
Yeah. And that's the thing, too, is like with the show coming out, a bunch of people were memeing on Cortana. Like, I threw it in the thumbnail there. And people were like, what the hell? Like, this doesn't look like Cortana. And it's like, it's just like a little weird, but it's like, it is what it is. If they alter the source material a little bit, it's not the end of the world. Lots of people do that, right? But then it turns out that they're like, yeah, by the way, we never played a Halo game. We didn't look at any of the Halo stuff for inspiration. And it's like, then how the hell are you making the show based on the game and books? You've never looked at any of the source material? They've got Marines running around with AK-47s, and it's like, what? That's
what year is this?
Yeah, like what?
Supposed to be?
That's not the guns they use.
Yeah, like, dude. So yeah. During an interview, the showrunner was like, yeah, it said exactly what Tash said. We didn't look to the game. We weren't held back by the game. It's like, okay, then is Thanos in this TV series? If you weren't held back by anything, well, put Thanos and Iron Man and just do whatever you want, right? Like, it's actually so dumb, dude, that they're like, oh, we weren't held back. It's like, bro, you should be held back. You should be in the parameters of what you're making the game about.
Listen, you would be crucified if you were to take an iconic story like, Lord of the Rings or Harry Potter, and then you're going to make a show or a movie on it, and you literally said, before the show ever came out, you said, we didn't look at the source material. If you said that, you'd be lit up. That community would despise you, and they would review bomb everything you put out, because that's just unacceptable if you're going to make a show on something and you're not going to honor the source material. They didn't say we're going to deviate. We looked at the source material, we're going to deviate from it. They didn't say it. They said we did not look at the game.
We were not held back by the game. Like, I think the guy who wrote it, never played the game. I don't even think he played it.
Yeah.
And
that's crazy to me.
Of any of the fan bases that are gonna notice this, it's gamers. Like, I feel like gamers are so sweaty, and they look to inconsistencies in their games and the story of the games. And it's like, if you're gonna make a show on our game, and then you're gonna do that, the gamers are gonna disrespect you. But it's also like, how dumb do you think we are that you can just get away with it?
Right? It's like you have a free audience of everyone who plays Halo, and you just said, "Yeah, we don't need that audience. Screw that audience."
No, we don't need that.
Who are you trying to appeal to?
It's like if they made a Destiny 2 game, they're like, "We've actually never seen the game before."
There's no Zavala, there's no Hive. They're just like, it just doesn't make sense. And they keep doing this. There was like a Monster Hunter World movie, and it's like, what are you doing? And the thing is with the Monster Hunter World movie, I think they get I didn't even watch it. I heard it was terrible. I think they get sucked into the world, kind of, like they get teleported or whatever. But
it's like a military squad featuring the girl from Resident Evil.
Yeah.
We're in the Monster Hunter world. Oh, there's a
just do the whole movie in that world. It's a very interesting world. Just put all the characters in that world already. And
the proof is that Arcanus show, the League of all things, you make a show on League of Legends.
Arcane, yeah.
I had people who literally never played League of Legends. They're recommending the show to me because it was just good, and then League of Legends fans also liked it.
Yeah.
So it's that's what you're supposed to do.
And you know,
they crushed that show, and it's no surprise that when you actually honor the source material and tell a good story instead of trying to you don't take something that's really successful and try to reinvent it. You try to springboard off of it. You know what I mean? It's just dumb to me.
It's so funny too, because it turns out Sonic was one of the best gaming movies ever made, even though everyone was raging about how Sonic looked originally.
Well, they changed it, and they actually did make it better.
They did, but it's everyone was like, "Oh, this is doomed," and it turns out to be one of the best gaming movies overall.
It was like Sonic Isekai. It was Sonic is teleported into our world,
right? Yeah,
but I think that was part of the thing. It's it looked so weird. It looked not as cartoonish. I think you're proving the opposite point of what you guys are trying to say, because the Sonic movie was good, but I feel people wouldn't have enjoyed it as much. They were trying to make an almost realistic-ish Sonic, and it looked weird.
Yeah.
And it looked like you were just what is this? And so then they genuinely did fix it, and I think that is part of the reason it was so successful, is everyone was now okay, now we gotta see it. Because if I was complaining about it on Twitter and they actually fixed it, I gotta go at least do my part and go see it. And then it actually was entertaining.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a little bit different though, because you can't do a Sonic movie in a Sonic world. You gotta, you know what I mean? That just doesn't work. So if you're gonna do it, you kind of have to do it that way. But Halo is in our world. It is set in our world.
You can't do it anywhere else.
You know what I mean? Get it right.
I just feel with Halo not being a very popular game, and now the show potentially flopping, it's also on a weird platform that I've never even heard of.
Yeah,
and so it's
Paramount Plus.
Yeah. So is that going to be that popular? Is it going to bring in new people? And if it's not good, are the diehard fans even going to go through all the hoops to watch it?
Well, that's the thing. It's kind of their flagship show. This is to Paramount Plus what Mandalorian was to Disney Plus. And people were I don't know about Disney Plus. And then people were dude, The Mandalorian is so good. Like you have to watch it. And then people would, and of course, it's like, so you have to have a Mandalorian quality show. And if they're like, we've never played Halo, we never even seen how they make games about this, what the hell? Like, dude, I don't know. Like, that just like scares the crap out of me. Like, they're gonna turn it into a Netflix Death Note or Cowboy Bebop type thing where everyone just hates it.
But also then they're like, whoa, this show is really great. I want to go play the game with everyone else. And there's 4 people online. I mean, Ryan couldn't even find matches for Battlefield. So, I mean, what if that happens? And so that's not good. The trajectory is very poor. And I mean, at some point they're going to have to say, all right, Halo ran its course. It was popular. It sold Xboxes back in the day. But that's it. It's done.
But
it's time to move on.
It feels so unceremonious when it's such a half-ass attempt.
Of course, it feels terrible.
Yeah.
The funny thing is, Volker Chat says they announced a free month of Paramount Plus with Game Pass today. That's like, if you already said you're not honoring the gamers, you didn't look at the games, how are the gamers supposed to want to come and, you know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. Like,
you already told those people it wasn't for, like, you know what I mean? I don't know. This just seems silly to me. Like, they don't understand their audience. That's my question. Who are they shooting for here? What's their audience? What's their demographic?
I don't know.
It's not gamers. Anyways.
Weird.
Let's move on to Bungie not knowing their audience because they decided to strike down a bunch of their creators. But then they got struck down themselves by themselves. And then it turned out it wasn't any of them. So what happened?
I don't know the finale to this story. So basically, like, some people were it started with some people posting music. They were literally just posting Destiny music to their own, like, very small, obscure channels that would literally just repost Destiny music to their channel. And it was like, okay, you guys got taken down. Kind of, all right, like, that kind of makes sense in that. Yeah. In that scenario, like, you can't just re-upload an entire song. Like, I can't just like, hey guys, I'm uploading all of Beyonce's catalog on Cactus HD. Make sure to subscribe for all of Beyonce's music. Like, obviously I can't do that. But then it started to get hit with, like, people who did cutscenes started to get hit. And then
lore
it's like
people.
A few people, or what do you say?
And then the lore people who have
cutscenes. Yeah. And then that's a little bit weird because it's like, all right, technically it's like your intellectual property, but it's also like so many people want to watch it on YouTube and it promotes the game. And then like Astrocross got hit for like looking at a TWAB. And I don't even know, like,
that
for
was
me,
crazy.
For my TWAB videos, like, I have gameplay and I edit the different snippets. I think he might just like scroll through
I've
the
done
actual
that before.
TWAB. I don't know what I don't, obviously I make my own, so I don't watch his. But like, obviously, I don't think like a mountain of text would be copyright. And then Bife got hit for like a lore video, and then it kind of went crazy. And then, like you said, Destiny got hit themselves. So basically, it was like there was like potentially a third party. It was like this. The people doing the claiming was like this other company that potentially, now that they're bought by Sony, it could be like Sony's like, we got our own people, let's vie up copyright, and these people have no clue, and they're
some intern was like, strike it.
Yeah, some intern has no clue what he's doing and caused a huge crap storm.
That's the thing. It's like, it's manual review. Like, somebody, it wasn't like some algorithm thing. Literally, somebody looked at these and said, yes, strike it. Yes, strike it.
So Bungie came out and said, this is not us. Like, you're totally fine. This is all within our user agreement. Like, you're totally fine.
There's a third party thing, yeah.
Yeah.
Some agency somewhere, you know.
So it was a 10-second gameplay that got. So there you go. So yeah, and it doesn't make sense that Bife's video got hit either. So Bungie came out and was like, this wasn't us. This wasn't us. And I don't know. That's the last I've heard of the story. I don't know if it
it's settled down.
Like a meeting.
Yeah, they said they were going to have a meeting on Monday, so that would have already happened. So they've probably already determined the source of it. but I
And
haven't seen them make a statement on it.
I also haven't seen anyone else get struck after
Right.
those two creators on that day.
And Aztecross's copyrights were wiped, but there was a moment where he wasn't able to post anymore
For 2 weeks.
on his channel. Yeah.
I was like, holy crap, I might actually get some freaking views for these 2 weeks.
Yeah, and if you would have got one more, it could have been like channel termination.
Yeah,
So-
that's the scary thing. It's like, one, you're in hot water. 2, you can't post for 2 weeks. And 3, your channel's deleted. It's like, whoa.
A lot of people, that was the thing. Like, a lot of people on Twitter were like, why is this such a big deal? You know, it's like, no, you don't understand. You could literally get fired from your job. Think of it that way. Like, you show up to work one day and they say, you don't have a job here anymore. You're not getting any more compensation from us. Go home. And it was something that it was a fluke. It wasn't even your fault. That's what could happen to a YouTuber if they get these copyright strikes, even if they're if they're not true, right? They're unwarranted. Like, if you receive 3 of them, you're done. Like, your channel's just done.
Yeah, so obviously, like, what a scary position for him to be in. He's like sitting there, like, if I get one more random strike, and I can't even, like, I'm not even sure he could access his channel and, like, maybe private all of his videos or something. He's like, if I got one more strike, my channel's terminated. Like, that's scary.
Mm-hmm.
And again, so apparently he got him removed, which is obviously good because he didn't violate any copyright stuff. But
Yeah.
it again proves that, like, whoever made these claims was just a complete moron intern that just, like, made these massive. So
I'll ruin
obviously
some people's lives, sure.
Bungie and or Sony call up YouTube, you know, and it's like, hey, Susan, get it together. Like, what are you doing here? And then they kind of fixed it behind the scenes. But what a crazy thing, man. Like, all of a sudden, they just, like, went copyright crazy for, like, this little bit.
But also, how many creators does that happen to that don't have Bungie on speed dial or
right.
any voice, and
Yeah.
their channel just gets yeeted? Like, it's pretty scary. And that's why, you know, anyone who's in content, it's like, put money away for real estate. Put money away in your investments. Like, don't blow all your money because you don't know if you're going to get banned. Like, I got banned on Twitch, like, for nothing, and then they reverted it. I got banned on YouTube for a week because
I got banned on Twitter
because it said CBD somewhere in one of my descriptions, and I don't even reference CBD or any, like, illegal substance in the video. Like, it's just the way, I don't even know what happened there, and they're like flagged.
It was like an
flagged me.
algorithm, like.
Yeah, and I got
Yeah,
banned
I'm
for
the
like
only
a
one
week.
who's banned. Oh no, I got banned for 24 hours because I called someone some names on Twitter or something.
Oh, classic.
I called someone like
you
a
let the haters get under your skin.
I was like,
that's
I was like, you fuckwit idiot sandwich loser. And they're like, you got to take a 24-hour break, dude.
Well, there goes our monetization. No.
That's right.
But luckily, we have some really good news. Now, this is probably one of the most anticipated things potentially in gaming.
That's right, Godfall, baby.
is coming to PC. The Extreme Edition, the God Hunter Edition. Godfall, if you
Finally.
don't know, a quick search on Google Trends will tell you everything you need to know. Just compare it with any other looter shooter or loot type game and just see how popular it was. But that game is going to make a comeback more than Halo Infinite, I think. Like, this is big news. This is huge. But also, isn't it already on PC? Because I'm pretty sure I have it on Epic Games on PC. Like, I didn't play it on my console. So, is it it's just like a definitive edition for Windows of some sort? Like, I don't know what their play is here. But
I totally forgot about the Epic Games version. I thought
Right?
it was like, oh, it's coming to
Trying to bring it
PC.
back.
that's what I'm saying. I'm like, didn't I already play it on PC?
Must be for Steam? Hold on, I'm actually going to look this up on Steam.
Yeah, you got to check it out. So, Godfall, it's the Ultimate Edition, releasing on all platforms. All past updates and DLC are included. So I think it's more that. It's like you can get Godfall and all the content they've created and jump in. And you know, if and it is going to be on Steam. It is going to be on
Yeah,
Steam.
it's on
Yeah,
Steam.
that's the thing. It's not exclusive.
Releases April. Dude, I've seen some, like, this game. Listen, Godfall does look gorgeous. It's a gorgeous looking game, 100%. Like, the world looks very cool, and I've seen some gameplay, and some of it I'm like, oh, this actually looks kind of fun, like putting together these builds or whatever. But it just kind of like now. I mean, Wonderlands is coming out like tonight, tomorrow type thing. Destiny is going strong. It's just like, I mean, for goodness sakes, Elden Ring is popping off. Like, who's gonna be like, no, I don't want any of those. I'm going to get Godfall Ultimate Edition.
Godfall's they don't even have hope and a prayer for catching Warframe at this point.
No, oh no. The thing with Godfall, because I put in maybe 6 or 7 hours, is like the boss fights felt terrible. Like awful boss fights. But the other thing too is the customization in that game, at least at launch, was like, do 5% more fire damage with this guy, or 5% more lightning. Like, there was no real customization, and you could get the weapons, but it was just, it did not have any meat and potatoes that, like, it didn't excel in any area over anything else. It's like, did it have amazing loot? Not really. Oh, amazing fighting? Not really. Amazing bosses? Not really. Like, it just...
What about the spaces? Like, if you go exploring, like, side routes and stuff, are you going to find anything cool there?
It looks like a Warframe-generated map. It just... And it has almost the same Warframe loop where, like, you load into the map and there's, like, maybe multiple little things you can do in that map. But it just didn't have any sort of backbone to it.
You know who does have a backbone is our boy Andrew Preston, who donated and just said 450 plus gamers watching and only 115 likes?
What?
If you're watching a podcast and having fun, what? I mean, hit the like button, dude.
True story.
Like 1 second.
True story. Here on YouTube, the best free way to support content creators that you like is to hit the like button. It drives up engagement. It helps the YouTube algorithm to blast it out there for new people to find us. So we do genuinely appreciate it. Each and every person who decides to hit that like button. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you.
Do you ever ask for likes in videos? Now I just want to know. I think I've done it in all the 2,000 videos I've made. I think I've done it 3 times. Or maybe 4 times. I never do it, but some big content creators do it all the time, and I'm like, should I just commit? Just
if I do it, it's like usually it's just pretty like quick and subtle. I'll say like, if you like the video, make sure to drop a like anyways, and go on. I've seen people who are like, guys,
just
smash that like button,
destroy that like button.
We can get to 200,000 likes.
Yeah, a lot of people start the videos like that. Yeah. We're looking for 3,000 likes in this video,
and I'll fight my dad.
Before they've ever shown you anything or talked about anything.
The one thing is like that I've seen that's like good idea for certain people. They're like, hey, would you guys want to see this? Like, if this video gets to like 10,000 likes or whatever, 100,000 likes, I'll do this. Like, I'll actually do it. Right?
But they already did it. Like, you don't know that, but they already did it.
Potentially, yeah. Anyways, though, but moving on from there. Something actually big news that was announced, not Godfall, something actually big, was a new Witcher game, baby.
This is how it went down. The community was like, where's our Cyberpunk DLC? Where's our Cyberpunk DLC? And they're like, The Witcher 4? And everyone's like, yay!
Dude, like, literally, it's so funny that they're like, everyone keeps bitching about Cyberpunk. Just release like one image of like the Witcher logo and some snow and say, "What's up, idiots? Witcher 4 is coming, so shut the hell up about Cyberpunk." And I was like, "Okay, like, yeah."
There was a post on like r/gaming, and it was like that Witcher logo that they showed off for the teaser, and it was like, "Don't pre-order, don't pre-order, don't pre-order, don't pre-order, don't." But I don't know. I wonder if there's going to be a disconnect between like the company that made The Witcher made Cyberpunk, or is it like, oh, all the Witcher games are amazing, I'm just going to automatically get it? Are people going to be wary? I think people are going to dive in, and they just don't care.
Oh,
people
forget this game's going to get bought. This game's going to get bought.
Oh yeah,
100%.
Yeah. Especially because unlike the Halo show, which the director never played the games. Everyone's favorite unbelievably handsome gamer,
Henry Cavill.
Henry Cavill, he loves The Witcher, and this guy lives and breathes The Witcher.
He literally blackmailed them. You know this, right? Like at the end of season 2, he literally said, season 1 was great. Season 2, we took a lot of artistic liberties, and it was fun. But I will not play Geralt moving forward if they don't honor the source material. He literally said that. And then shortly thereafter, they're like, Henry Cavill's back for season 3. So it's like, when Henry Cavill says, I will not play this character unless you honor the source material, like, that's a big deal.
Yeah.
Like, you're absolutely right.
And he was walking around, like, apparently, like, adjusting, being like, no, you should be wearing this, and you should be doing this, or whatever, because he was, like, so into the games. And, like, the gamers noticed it, and the Witcher series, like, people loved it. It's funny, like, I watched it back recently. It's a little confusing to follow because it like is the first season is the 2 timelines, and it's definitely not like a perfect show, but just like they nailed the atmosphere and all the stuff, and Henry Cavill was like so gung ho and actually loved The Witcher that again you have this audience of gamers that are like, no, we like it. They're like, we like it.
Thank God they have other people like that. Chris Pratt that's gonna be Mario, and it's like he has that dedication. You know, he's crafted his own voice from Mario, and he's like, I'm
surprised they didn't pick up Chris Pratt as the new Witcher when Henry Cavill threatened to quit. Because Chris Pratt, if you need basically any character, what is he also? He's Mario and he's something else. And people are like, there's no freaking way.
I don't know.
He's
Toad.
something else like famous. I can't remember.
What are you talking about? I'm sorry. I was reading chat.
Soon after they announced that Chris Pratt would be Mario, he also got announced as something else big, and everyone thought it was a meme, but it was like dead serious.
I don't know what it is.
You're right. I remember. I don't remember what it was.
And then
it was like,
and then everyone was joking. Everyone's joking about everything else because it was like this movie or like this abstract thing gets released. It's like, and Chris Pratt he's gonna be the voice actor. He's gonna be playing the main character. Oh, Garfield.
Garfield. That's right. It was Garfield.
Chris Pratt's Garfield. Everyone's like, haha, like the Mario thing, good one. And Garfield's like, no, we're actually serious.
But what? For real.
Oh my god, that's so funny.
I will tell you this: the kids love Chris Pratt. Like, he's in the Lego movies and the Jurassic World movies. Like, my son does not know a lot of actors, but he knows Chris Pratt. So if Chris Pratt's gonna be Garfield, my son wants to watch Garfield. You know, if Chris Pratt's gonna be Mario, my son wants to watch Mario. So
I mean, and Chris Pratt's he's a decent actor. He's decent in Jurassic World. It's not like I'm like, Jurassic World main problem, Chris frickin' Pratt, that asshole. You know what I mean? Like, I don't really. He's fine in it. It's just like I think it's kind of like any actor, like any actor cast as Mario. Like, unless it's like Jack Black, maybe.
Yeah.
Everyone's gonna be like, "There's no fit there."
I think that is important. Is like if you go and do The Last of Us, because I think it's Pedro Pascal, right? For The Last of Us.
Yeah.
It's like okay, I can see that working as Joel. I can see him fitting into that role. All right, but if you have like Michael Cera come in, it's like, it's the end of the world. Like, oh shit. It's like. The gamers are going to be bad. Like, the source material is going to be bad. But, like, if Master Chief is Gilbert Gottfried, he's like, how come all these aliens are coming in?
Or Tom Holland is Nathan Drake.
It just feels weird. Like, it's a weird disconnect.
Well, yeah, that's actually a good point. Funny enough, it's true story is we were talking about, like, I was talking with my brothers, like, who should play the next James Bond? Because, obviously, Daniel...
Radcliffe.
Craig is out.
And Idris Elba.
And my brother unironically said Michael Cera. And we were like,
he was serious?
What? We were like, could you imagine him as like James Bond? It's Michael Cera. He weighs like 110 pounds and he's like fighting people. He's like, woo!
Like these smoking hot women are fawning all over him.
Arrested Development being like,
Yeah,
like,
he's got the muscles, the bodysuit on that he
had. Arrested Development bodysuit. Exactly. Oh my god, dude.
Oh jeez.
I don't know who they're gonna pick. I hope it's I hope they pick someone like a young blood new person that can make the role their own kind of thing, and like
James Bond
that I don't know. Yeah, because for me, James Bond is like it's like its own person, and if I see Brad Pitt playing it. It kind of ruins it for me.
Agree.
I haven't seen Daniel Craig in a lot of stuff before, and I didn't love his James Bond movies. Like, I just didn't love any of the ones for the most part that he was in.
Casino Royale was god tier. So
it was pretty good. It was pretty good.
Royale was pretty good.
It was pretty good. But
the rest sucked.
But like the fact that I hadn't seen him in a lot of stuff, I
He's
never
James-
I
well,
never blamed him. It was like that's his James Bond. It's almost like its own
well,
like
that's-
series. You know what I mean? Like
what you're explaining is what happened with Sean Connery. Sean Connery kind of came out of nowhere,
right.
and he was James Bond. Like it was just like it just fit the role so well. And yeah, hopefully, yeah, some young guy, not Tom Holland, for the love of God, not Tom Holland, but a young guy come in and just be the new James Bond.
I don't know, man. I'm not about this young guy James Bond stuff. Like James Bond his young career was military. Like he's already done the young thing. I want a sophisticated, badass. Like Idris Elba to me is like my pick.
Idris
like,
Elba, I think
he would. I think he would crush it.
It kind of fits what Tash is saying. Though the problem with Idris Elba is because he's in so many things. I'm not like, oh, this is James Bond. I'm like, oh, that's Idris Elba playing James Bond. Right?
Yeah.
Again, it's he's so popular. It's like, oh, he's just playing James Bond.
I also think it's also like a little bit of the mystique of like if it's the older James Bond and he's hitting on the girls, it's like he knows what he's doing. Like don't get me wrong, but it's like if it's just like a young buck. Some chicks hang on and he's like, do you want to come up to my room?
Lady.
His voice is cracking. It's like, okay, he's a cracked agent, but like he's terrified himself. Like I know if my wife puts on a nice dress and herself, I'm like getting nervous and she's my wife. So like you almost have to have this like mature like James Bond,
dude.
like this suave guy. And if they're too young, it just doesn't work.
But suave, but also I feel like, do you guys remember what's his name? The guy after Sean Connery, something Moore. Like, yeah, was it not Michael Moore? But it was
I think Moore is right. Yeah,
yeah, and he played James Bond, and he was very like suave Englishman, right? Roger Moore. It's Roger Moore.
Roger Moore. Let me see if it says here.
Now,
Sean Connery. Then it was like one movie with David Naveen. No one saw that one. George Lazenby was only like one show.
One movie with him.
And then Roger Moore was like 1973 all the way to 1985.
The thing about Roger Moore, he was very like the suave Englishman, like rich Englishman. Like he fit that role very well. But it's also you could not see him like beating people up. Like he was too. It's like dude, like Roger Moore was like 60 when he was cast. It's like you're not beating up these yoked henchmen, and whereas like Sean Connery when he was young, actually you could see him like beating people up, and same with Daniel Craig. You're like, I can see Daniel Craig beating people up, right? Like you have to. So I feel like Roger Moore was too suave.
I don't know why, but I always feel like Pierce Brosnan. Like I know that people don't like him, but he like looks for whatever reason. I think probably because of GoldenEye. But like,
yeah, we grew up with GoldenEye,
and he's just like a pretty good-looking guy. So it's like I look at it, it's like I think James Bond would kind of look like that, but it's what it is.
But the movies are so bad.
Someone in chat made a pretty interesting suggestion.
What?
Did you just say that? Timeout. Did you just say that GoldenEye was bad?
Yo, it was trash. No, not the game. The movie.
I wouldn't say it's bad.
Yeah, the movie's trash. What are you talking about?
I gotta go. I can't be here anymore.
No,
I gotta
bro.
leave, chat.
Actually, you know what? I take that back. Do you know why? Because I remember it being dumb, but I watched it years and years and years ago. So maybe I'm wrong.
Anyways, the podcast is over now because of that comment.
Someone in chat made an interesting suggestion that I hadn't thought of. Cillian Murphy. I could kind of see that. I mean, the only thing I would say would be his height, but then I would.
Blinders guy.
Have you got dude? He is so good at Peaky Blinders.
But he's too iconic. You can't have the guy from Peaky Blinders being James Bond. I just can't. I don't know. You know who would be great, honestly, but he is in so much stuff. Is the guy who played Bane? What's his name?
Tom Hardy.
Yeah, Tom Hardy.
Tom Hardy. He would probably be pretty good.
Yeah, he's apparently hard to work with, I guess. But I do like his acting. He's a very good actor.
Yeah, I don't know. Because do they have like a new one slated? Because I feel like there's been talk about it for a while. Like it's been up in the air. So like they must be planning something.
Yeah. I'm sure they are. Like, it's such a big franchise. And actually, I think they just got bought. MGM got bought, I think, by Amazon?
I don't know.
Potentially?
I don't know.
Oh, do you know what? You weren't thinking Tom Hardy. You're actually thinking Tom Hanks. That'll be the next James Bond.
You know, it actually wouldn't
Tom
be a
Hardy,
bad
Tom
Tom?
Hiddleston.
Tom Hiddleston. Tom
Yeah.
Hiddleston played Loki as James Bond. Like,
He was-
got bulk
and
up
he
a little
has-
bit, put on some muscle. I can see it.
He has kind of played this like the suave spy
definitely a suave
kind of role before. I forget I can't remember the name of the show. There's a I think it's called like the Night Man or the Night Watch or something like that. But he's in this show. If you've not seen it before, you should check it out. It's actually really good. It's based off of a novel. But Tom Hiddleston plays this guy that starts. He's like an ex UK Special Forces guy who ends up being like the night manager. That's what it's called. He's like the night manager at this really suave hotel in Egypt, and he witnesses like this murder, and then he gets recruited by MI6 or whatever to go undercover and find the guy that did it, and he plays that like suave, guy. And he crushes it.
No,
I think he could be a good.
He would be great, but guess what? There's no way Marvel is letting him be James Bond because he's Loki and he's gonna have more stuff coming up. There's like Loki season 2 and all this stuff. Like I don't think he would have time to be in another franchise.
I don't know. They probably also pay you to do that because they're like, you can't cut your hair, you're stuck here, and also it's just like the optics of it is like the utmost commitment to the role and to the Marvel stuff. It's like they're not doing other projects because there's more Marvel stuff. Like it kind of keeps people engaged. You know what I mean? I think that they do that. They're like, you're not working on other stuff. We'll pay you enough so you don't have to. But I don't know.
Ryan Reynolds. No, dude. Ryan Reynolds is meant to be Deadpool, not James Bond. He's too like wacky, like that. I don't know. I think James Bond has to be a little bit more serious.
Tongue-in-cheek. Yeah, he does sort of have that sarcastic tongue-in-cheek thing kind of nailed down. He was great in Free Guy. He was great in the Adam Project, but I don't know that I couldn't see him as that like super serious, suave guy.
I guess the only thing is with a lot of actors, they pull off stuff that like you don't expect. Like no one expected Heath Ledger to be the best Joker ever. Like no one expected that, and so you never really know. But also, there's probably like all this hidden talent out there that you've never seen before. That
a great example, freaking Robert Pattinson coming in as Batman. When that was first announced, everyone was like memeing out so hard, like, "Oh, the Twilight vampire. What's he gonna do? Sparkle in the night?"
Right.
And he was great in it.
Good.
And
That's good.
Everyone loves him in it.
Yeah. I mean, even in what is that movie that recently came out with all the weird time loops? You'd have to watch it 10 times to know what the movie's actually about, and the audio was terrible. Tenet. He was in Tenet, and he was just like kind of like this mercenary type guy. I was like, damn, he's kind of a badass. Like just the way he wears his guns.
You need to watch Tenet once.
No,
if you're me, I
got it too, but it's just the audio was bad. Half the time it was muffled, didn't know what they were saying. But
titles are always on.
That's all his movies.
Dude, yeah, exactly. Anytime Christopher Nolan can put someone in a mask like Bane, I was born in the darkness, I was moving, man. You're like, what?
They're like talking into a fan.
Yeah, exactly.
Luke, I am your father. But I don't know.
What even is this episode?
It's movie time. It's
movie time, baby.
You know what? Sometimes after dark, it just flows into it early when we get tired of talking about some of these trash games.
Wait.
Are we sponsored by anybody?
No. We are sponsored by Advanced.
They dropped us. Don't shout them out.
All right.
You didn't even listen to me.
Sponsored by Advanced GG. They make a great energy drink.
Are we really? Are we still?
Yeah, we are.
Yeah, we're still sponsored by use code RGH when you buy our Advanced GG. You get 10% off. You help all of us. It goes to some weird offshore bank account that Tash owns.
I don't know.
No,
I'm not.
Well, I got the new Lychee Splash. So they have a bunch of like new flavors and stuff. So it's actually
I need to make an order.
How do you
this
Now,
week.
how do you
hold on.
like that one?
I didn't mind it at all. It tasted like lychee.
Oh.
The one I liked a lot. I think it's downstairs because I was using it. It's the one that has like the soda bottles on it. It's like the Japanese style soda bottles, and it
Oh,
kind of
yeah.
tastes like the end of a Slurpee, but like in a good way. It's just like very subtle. I don't know. I liked it a lot.
We also didn't talk about the Sony VRR.
That's one thing. First of all, Brandon with the $100 donation, massive gamer, says donating to TV's Advanced
Yo,
GG Flavor
my
Fund.
man.
That's gonna help build the Advanced GG distillery, so we can get
You gotta tag
Advanced GG whiskey.
If you want to see a TV flavor, you gotta tag them on Twitter and be like, "Yo, TV flavor when? TV flavor when?"
Yeah, when they allow fully alcoholic flavors in.
Fully
Also,
alcohol.
I want to point out, aside from Brandon being the biggest gamer of all time, also William became a member. But someone suggested a great James Bond. I want to say it just before I forget. Michael Fassbender, aka Magneto, young Magneto. He's British. He would be. I think he was maybe Scottish, but would be fantastic as that.
I can see that.
Don't poo-poo Michael Fassbender.
I watched
he
him
was-
in the Snowman movie, The Murder. Oh, he's just it's terrible.
Well, hold on. What about in Inglourious Bastards? He's in that and really good in it.
Oh, yeah, he's fine.
Who was he? Who was he in Inglourious Bastards?
He's
He
like
was
the
three
guy,
the
or
three number
guy.
3 guy.
In the
Was
bar.
he really?
No, hold up, number 3 guy. That was.
I
Michael
don't remember
Fassbender.
that. I didn't
Yeah.
realize that. I haven't seen that movie in so long to
3.
make the connection.
So really quickly, this is a jumbled episode. Who cares? We're fun and furious. What is Sony VRR?
I actually have no idea.
Variable refresh rate.
Oh yeah.
So Sony's talking about introducing variable refresh rate. So a lot of times reset rates or refresh rates are they're dictated by one thing or another, right? They're dictated by your monitor. They're dictated by the game itself. Says this is the refresh rate that this game, can pump out. And Sony's like, listen, we have the technology with the PlayStation 5. We're gonna ship out an update soon that's gonna basically make the system kind of understand what it's capable of doing in the moment and try to maximize its own performance and say, no, we can do better than that. You know what I mean? So it's going to try and identify moments in gaming where it says, we can do better than that. We can pump out a better refresh rate for you on our end. And it's not something that you're going to like, I don't know, you may or may not even notice it, but it's basically just going to be trying to optimize your gaming experience behind the scenes every second that you're gaming, where if it decides we're capable of doing this better and enhancing your visual experience, you will just have a better gaming experience because the console itself is working on your behalf to give you the best visual experience that it can in the moment.
I wonder, is that a bunch of marketing gobbledygook in the sense of when's it going to be? It's like, okay, when I'm playing Destiny 2, it's not going to be refreshing, but when I'm in my menus and I'm going to get 120 frames in my menus, I don't care in my menus, right? It's going to be that low, those points where there's not a lot going on, where it can refresh faster, it can give you a higher frame rate, right? But it's those points that isn't much going on that you don't care about a high frame rate. I want max frames when I'm in a dogfight with the other guy in Trials. That's when I need it, right?
The question of if this is just gobbledygook, no, because this isn't the first time we've seen VRR, right? This is not like a brand new revolutionary thing. In fact, a lot of people were like, where's VRR? When PS5 was first launching and talking about their specs, what it was capable of. So this is something that we've seen before. It's been implemented by a number of companies and platforms before. So it's not just gobbledygook that they just made up. It is a thing that already exists, and they're implementing it now. So it's definitely a good thing. PS5 has already been pretty widely celebrated for its visual experience already. So to be able to add this to the repertoire is a net win.
I'm not saying that they made it up. I'm just saying, how much is it really going to make a difference or really matter, I wonder? Right? Is it going to help you win more gunfights? I don't know. It could. It could just... And you could I'd like to see, a side-by-side, with it on and with it not. Can you notice a difference in how smooth the game runs?
I think you're going to be able to notice a difference. If it's going to take the frame rate cap away, and say we're not using that as the upper bound anymore. The upper bound is whatever we can do, whatever our bandwidth will allow for.
So is Sony imposing those numbers, or like is Bungie and the game companies, like when they say it's 60 FPS, is it because Sony's putting the limiter on it?
Well, the game developer is always working within the parameters of the device that's running the game, right? So they're setting their parameters accordingly. It's not the other way around, right? So the game operates always. Every limiter that the developer puts on the game is always based on what the platform, what the console, whatever, is capable of doing, right?
Right.
So they can never set a frame rate cap at 120 if the PS5 can only handle 60, you know? You know what I mean? Like, that's not the way the relationship goes. The game is always subordinate to the performance of the console. So the console is the thing that at the end of the day has the final say. So if the console itself says, no, we can do better, then the console is the trump card and says we will do better.
Interesting. And then someone commented that the VRR also helps synchronize refresh rates with things like monitors, resulting in less visual artifacting and screen tearing, which is awesome. Because if you're getting frame drops, in some games, it's actually very disorienting when these things are happening. If there's screen tearing, even in some games that are like PvP games, if you played Destiny 2 The Witch Queen with the most recent NVIDIA drivers, it literally made PvP unplayable. People would slide out of cover, and their character, like, you wouldn't see them for a second, and they'd pop up because there was freeze framing and these little hitches that were in the game. And it's like 99% of the time it's good, but when some guy slides around a corner and that's when it chooses to hitch, those things can be very, very bad for immersion and just the overall playability of the game. Anything to smooth it out is a bonus for PlayStation people.
And it is important to note, and chat brought this up too, like, it's not going to fix your monitor. Like, if your monitor's only capable of doing a certain, of performing at a certain caliber, it's not going to outperform your monitor.
Most people have
the game
that can go above 60 FPS though.
Yeah, like the game is trumped by the console or whatever device is running the game, and then the device that's running the game is trumped by your display. So that's the sort of chain of command there.
Yeah.
But yeah.
All right. Any other things we want to talk about today, or are we going to start wrapping it up because we are such random gamers? Like, we literally just dove into After Dark.
We really did.
We didn't say nothing. We just started riffing on James Bond, and that's what happens when you get these three gamers in. Like, you never know where chat's going to go.
Gamers.
Yeah, I think we're going to... What?
I was just saying it's been real. Thank you guys for showing up. And
thank you so much for... You guys we talked about the likes, and then you guys drove those up to 245 likes on the stream. Thank you so much, everybody. Appreciate that. Very kind of you.
You doubled it.
Someone did say, did you guys talk about Hogwarts Legacy? And we're not going to get in a big thing, but I did see some gameplay, and it looks interesting. It looks a little janky, but it looks like it has promise.
I will never touch anything to do with Harry Potter because I
have zero interest in Harry Potter, but I hope the game does well.
I'm woke, and I think that J.K. Rowling is a big piece of trash, and I'll never support anything she does. I'm not kidding. I think people that cover that game will get canceled because people are so against J.K. Rowling. And I don't think everyone is. And I think a lot of people are blind to it because, like, a lot of people read Harry Potter, but they don't follow her on Twitter. They don't listen to that stuff. But it's just like, I think she's a piece of trash, and like, I just won't support her. And I know everyone.
Yeah, it's rough. But it's like, hey, same thing happened with Activision. Bobby did some. I mean, they bullied someone to suicide in Activision, and
people play their games. Yeah, so it's like, where do you draw the line?
So it's like, and even again, you're woke for that, but if you're woke for that, you should be woke for Activision. But it's such a complex issue. But yeah, I hope the game's good. I love Harry Potter, so I love the franchise. But
I think the Harry Potter fan base is more, they rally behind the story. The story is what captivated them. They don't give two flying fracks about J.K. Rowling, and I don't think that's going to have an impact on the performance of the game. I could be wrong. Maybe you're right.
It'll be super popular.
But I think the game will do fine because the Harry Potter fan base they're such a dedicated group of people. I totally respect that. The Harry Potter was never my thing. I never struck my fancy. I was into other things when Harry Potter was popular when I was growing up. So I never got into it. I gave it a fair shake, but it didn't really vibe with me. I hope the game does well, though.
The most interesting part of this whole thing was basically that Sony gave them their own like thing, and like gave them their own state of play featuring this game. And that to me says that Sony sees potential in this game. Like, I was thinking, oh, just some random Harry Potter game. It's going to cash in on the franchise. But the fact that Sony is like it almost seems like maybe this game is bigger than I thought it would be if it's getting its own state of play. Like, they don't often do that.
They also have like the Harry Potter has never had a AAA game. Like, they've had like Game Boy games and like some other things, but they've never really had like a AAA game, and this is the first kind of shot at it. So I think people are just excited because they're like, we love the world, but we've never got to experience the world in game format, really. Like, they had like a turn-based one and some really basic Game Boy ones. Like, my brother had it on Game Boy, but they're not like these big sprawling things. And like, when you've got Magic and Quidditch and all these different things, like, people, they want to experience the real magic of it, and you can't do that with the games that they put out in the past. Just it's not the same level.
So it'll be interesting. I genuinely don't know too much about it. Like, I saw some gameplay. It looks interesting. It seems to have some RPG elements. It looks a little janky. We'll see.
Yeah.
Anyway,
I mean,
guys,
the world building's already there. That's sometimes game developers do better when the world building's
and
already
sometimes they
done by
scrap all the
somebody
world
else.
building like Anthem.
So all I know is that the Harry Potter fans are a really dedicated group. So if they honor the fans, they honor the source material, it'll be fine.
Yeah.
Hopefully it's good.
Alrighty.
All right.
Thanks, guys. We will have another episode next Wednesday at 9 p.m. Eastern Time. This was the RGH Real Gamer Hour podcast. I'm MTashed.
I'm Cactus HD.
I'm True Vanguard.
We will see you next Wednesday.